I was asked a question yesterday that I've been asked before, and I don't have a good answer now and I didn't then. The question and what I said helped me get help for post traumatic stress and helped me get a diagnosis of childhood PTSD, exacerbated by military combat. I was, like I have many times, complaining about my sister sabotaging me and meddling with things, and whether she means well or not respecting my free will. Just control freak stuff. But I said I don't know when I was asked why she does these things, and I said nonchalantly, I don't know. She was in the same car I was, driven by a drunk, praying for her life. We'd asked him to slow down and he'd go faster. And that same car was my sister's study hall. My sister had no adults around her that she could trust. We used to have family gatherings and visit our cousins. And before leaving the car, after we would arrive, she would stay in the car for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, doing her homework. Our mom would try to get her to come out of the car and be sociable, and she refused until her homework was all finished. When it was not safe to be at home, there was one night that we wandered around together. I think I realize now that she used to go to her friend's house and watch TV, and I would just wander around the streets of Venice. In third grade, try to come home 9 p.m. Still all the yelling, and 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Just how my mother could constantly spend hours arguing with her second husband, who was drunk. He later got clean and sober and tried to help me. Illegally got me into the motion picture union for editing, forging paperwork, giving me a career that I rejected and enlisted into the U.S. Army. I don't know. I know that she had no one around her that she could count on. And seeing the way her boyfriends treated her just led me to try to do the same to girls myself. I've said some things that I regret now on my other show that is banned. There's a famous person that I suppose at one time my sister thought that they were going to be an item. She and him. And I don't think he treated her well. But I should not be talking about my sister's private life. I'm sorry. Not an excuse, but by an explanation maybe. This is my 9th day now without any psych meds, or marijuana or other things, non chemical problems that I have to be serious about and give over to my higher power and work the 12 steps with. I got to hear a great speaker in the known all the different self-help groups and 12-step programs. Clancy, he tried to tell me when I was 27. I mean, not me personally. I heard him speak. And I disagreed with him. He said that some people like to not deal with their childhood wounds. And like to guard them and protect them. And he said that keeps you from really truly being free. Clancy. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. Carrie Fisher tried to tell me I needed to uncover, discover, and discard. It's very emotional, and as I'm saying this, it's making me want to go get a marijuana blunt, turn on the TV, do something to distract myself from my feelings. But for all the brave that have died for our country, the people I've buried, other kinds of bravery, like Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols, who could talk about his sex addiction on the Vice Channel. The other half of that movie is Steve Jones hanging out with me and some other guys, trying to find a way to live without drugs and alcohol. You know, people want to know why I'm accusing my sister of doing some things. And let me just say, she killed the family dog. She didn't mean to. She took that dog up to the top of the Hollywood Hills and back after he hadn't had exercise for a while. And we didn't know he had cancer. And then he died. Overworked him. I have a college degree now. Before I got a college degree, I got medical training in the Army. I was a combat lifesaver in the Gulf War. It was decided that it would be a good idea for all the chaplain assistants to become combat lifesavers. I would be there with the dying, maybe save some lives. I was trained to give last rites in 3 different religions. So, I don't know. Except that I think she became a very strong-willed person because she had to survive and succeed. And from where she's come from, she's done a pretty good dang job. People are afraid of the unknown. I didn't know where I was when she was in the office having me diagnosed, basically, telling them all about how I was bipolar. And, my problems, my psychological problems really started when those towers fell down on 9/11. And then the protesting and the plans to invade Iraq again. I had programmed myself. When we left, I thought the job's not finished. Saddam Hussein is still in power. When I was in Desert Storm, we were packing up to go home. It's like, if we have to come back to Iraq, I'm going to be so mad. And I was. And I was not okay. I was going into my master's program, and my girlfriend, who had left me because I psychotically just told her that I didn't think I was going to live that long. I wasn't going to have a long life, and I didn't realize that she was thinking of having a life with me, being my wife. And then she later wanted to just have the benefits of marriage without being married, and she said that she was pregnant. I said I would not go into my master's program, go into the Army, pay for the baby. And she said she was going to have an abortion and not to call her anymore. And I could not reach her. I had a breakdown. I was smoking weed, worshiping the goddess of the earth, worshiping the Druids of Ireland. My sister brought me to the Agape International Spiritual Center, where I met Reverend Michael Beckwith, who told us about Jesus the Christ. But I needed something with a more stable foundation. Went to the Catholic Church, was confirmed in the Catholic Church. You know, during that time when I was worshiping the Druids and smoking weed and worshiping the goddess of the earth, I had a lot of hate in my heart. I hated white Republicans. I hated Anglo people. And now I feel like I have been wronged by many white Republicans in the Patriot movement. But not all. And I don't hate any of them now. I love them. I appreciate where they're coming from. The Cherokee proverb goes like this. Hate darkens the soul. My Alateen sponsor was Cherokee. Alateen is a program for the children of alcoholics, like Al-Anon for kids, dealing with the effects of drugs and alcohol from your parents. And he was instrumental. After Beverly Hills Cop talked to me one night, and then that same spot, I felt God talking to me. And I wasn't praying to God at the time. I hated God. But after I got in a fight with Mark Canner, because I was trying to pick on him, like people picked on me, and Mark Canner wouldn't take it. And there he was looking for me, and of course it was set up, like other people have set me up. Like when Mark Revis and the other kid took my comic books, Spectacular Spider-Man 1 through 10, they knew I'd gotten stoned and it'd be a good time to take advantage of me. And I was really stoned when I was fighting Mark Canner. And I got two black eyes, a fat nose, and a bloody lip. No, a bloody nose and a fat lip. That's how it goes. And then I felt God was telling me, get off the weed and have a good life. My friend Dave Dawes told me that Victor had come back from when he was a foreign exchange student. He had come back. Maybe that was just a story. But he had come back and he said I passed out on the phone. Before he left, he gave me an eagle feather. You know, my friends told me, you need help. You're going to be like our parents. So I called up Jeff Cohen. A month earlier, Jeff Cohen had come around. And I said, what's that on your neck? He said, this had a thing from the Palmer Drug Abuse Program called a fist. A little pachinko ball wrapped in leather. He was very proud of it. And he said, this means I have 30 days off pot. And I literally told him, get out of here. We want more pot, not less. So a month later, when I'm calling him up, asking him to take me to one of those meetings, he first said, don't mess with me. Don't call me and harass me. He thought I was just calling him, tease him, make fun of him. I said, no, I'm serious. And he took me to these meetings. And from a Hebrew, from the Royal Cohen tribe, I learned to say the Lord's Prayer. I don't know. I'd like to love my sister from a distance. There's been violence. People will continue to laugh when I talk about when she lost her temper. And I have to take it. When try to leave some names out of this. Some famous names are involved. But basically, I thought I was with this woman, like a relationship. It was really just to mess with me and get me to speak in court for a wrongful death suit. With some famous person's son was killed, my best friend. You know, I didn't do it. 5 restraining orders I tried to get against this woman. But at the time, I was believing, this woman who had raped me when I was passed out, you know, yes, men can be raped. You know, if somebody's body is physiologically responding to your touch, but they're not giving consent, if they're saying no, don't think that because their body is saying yes, they mean yes. There's reflexes. Go to the doctor's office where they tap you on the knee. You know, I thought, I must be enjoying it. Okay, went along with it. I was raped. And then I thought I was getting married. And this woman I thought was going to be my stepdaughter, she was pouncing on my head. I took the hits. Once I was in a corner, I kicked her off of me. And she went flying in the air, came down on the kitchen floor, bounced off the kitchen floor, and fell down again. And I thought, people thought, you could get in trouble. I thought, trouble? I could have killed her. So next time she was banging on my head, boom, 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 just take the hits. Can't get into combat when you're an 82nd Airborne paratrooper. You're trained for the country, to defend the country. It's like in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, if you have a black belt in karate, you're not allowed to use it unless there's 3 people or more, because you've been trained in a special way. So people will laugh about, my sister. She beat me up a lot. Sometimes I would get back at her. Once I was a little kid, I put toothpaste on her doorknob. No, the doorknob of the bathroom. She got bunch of toothpaste all over her hands. Oh, and she was mad. She was coming after me. I had my door locked and closed, and I would hear a thud every few minutes. Boom, on my door. When the coast was clear, I would look out. 3 knives. My stepfather and I would get violent too. My mom would try to have a family dinner. This is when my sister had gone off to college. Oh, by the way, I was so depressed when my sister left for college. I missed her. We had a family dinner, and it resulted in my mother screaming over me and my stepfather on the floor, and he was trying to choke me to death, and I had stabbed him with a fork to defend myself. When I got bigger, I dominated my sister one time, stopped her from physically dominating me, and it felt so wrong. I'm like, this is not right. And I didn't do it again. And just stereotypical Irish Catholic Cherokee Indian dysfunction. My sister and I look like we could be born in Norway. And the fact is, my mama, my grandmother, was born in West Virginia. I've always resented my sister calling her schizophrenic or bipolar when it wasn't legal for her to marry a grandfather because she was a woman of color and he was a white man, according to some stupid ideology. So I reject me being called white or anyone color lines. People were mixed. The Cherokee Indian is a matrilineal culture where pretty much the women are in charge. The men are only in charge of defending the tribe and the village, going hunting. Everything else is up to the women. Very, very strong institution of motherhood that was just completely cut off when a Cherokee woman was taken from her people, and it gets blurry, you know. Great-grandmother named Tennessee George, that was her birth name. Tennessee Williams changed his name to that. Tennessee is a Cherokee name. It's a Cherokee woman in a log cabin, kept from her people, trying to be a mother, with no aunts or grandmothers or mother of her own to advise her. So I rid in the Cherokee Nation to get some help from my mom and my sister. My mom speaks of her mother and has hate for her mother, who is gone now. I don't know. Maybe my sister isn't conscious of what she's doing. And I don't know. I just know that she took my mom from my apartment, and I've kept my mom alive, and I have not been doing a good enough job. I've been trying to get help for my mom, more help. I was doing okay before the lockdown, and I wish I hadn't gone back to open up these stupid weed shops around here. And I gave in. I could just walk to a weed shop and have a break from the terror I was feeling every morning, not knowing what the heck was going on in the world. Now, I still live in terror. The lockdown is over, but for me in my head, it's still going on. With like any day, it could happen again. With the variant, I'm just at a meeting last night. They had on Skype somebody that has COVID and is at home, and he's doing well. He's got a good attitude, talking about staying off of drugs and alcohol and working the steps. Any day, it all could happen again. We just have a daily reprieve from the COVID lockdowns, from drug and alcohol abuse, from the devil messing with us. I'm not completely sane, but I'm the 82nd Airborne Division. I'm a chaplain assistant. I never used my rifle the whole dang time I was in the Army. I locked and loaded one time off of a range when I heard a gunshot. And love my post. You're supposed to. Never quit your post until properly relieved. I jumped over two rows of concertina wire. People didn't know how I could do it. I guess with the adrenaline and everything, I found a way to jump over those 2 rows, bust into the officers'